Welcome to Brobench videos. In this video, we're going to go through records monitor feature in Brobench. So Brobench has had a feature called track changes when you are viewing a particular record. So it's very nifty and it shows all the changes that happen to a particular record via various means. Okay. So how it works is that when you're in a particular record, you can right click and say track changes. And then it will track the changes and show the changes to this particular record as and when you make them. For example, let's say if you go change this value and then save it, if you come back here, it would show that particular change that has happened. So issue with this particular feature is that's a single record that tracks, and you have to know which record that you're going to track beforehand. So let's say if you wanna track changes for a particular user in production, you don't know what record the user is gonna touch, or across all the records, it is not feasible to open all the records and keep it up so that you can enable tracking. Or what if the user is adding records, so you wouldn't be able to track them until the record is created. So that is where the records monitor feature can be very helpful. Okay, so you can access the records monitor feature by going to the modules and the records monitor. So the records monitor helps you to monitor multiple objects, track changes to multiple objects by a particular user, or multiple records by that particular user or any other user. Okay. So when you go there, you can click on this request for the first time, and then it will show you some empty details, and the username is pre-filled. So you can enter some details. So in this case, you can enter list of objects to monitor for changes. For example, let's say I want to monitor account changes and then the contact changes. Okay. So you can mention the changes, monitor changes by these users. So you have to enter the user names of those users. You can click on this icon to select the list of users if you want to. And similarly, to add list of objects, you can also click on this icon that shows the list of objects that you can select. Okay. So you can, for a particular object, you can choose to say that, hey, monitor all changes irrespective of this particular user, and so basically ignore the user filter for this particular object. You can also specify additional filter and to monitor only these category of changes. You can specify the where class here. So don't include the where keyword and don't include any other keyword. You can just say where name is equals to blah blah blah, or record type is equals to something, whatever the condition that is, you can specify that. Okay, or if you have a specific set of records that you want to monitor, you can enter them as well. So those records will be monitored for all the changes. Okay, so when you specify this particular way, specifically you're saying objects to monitor and the records to monitor, and then you say track changes. So the Brobench will start polling changes for that. So Brobench doesn't use CDC to monitor this because we want to be able to monitor all the objects irrespective of whether they're supported in the CDC or not. So we use a standard the polling mechanism to check for changes. So make sure that you don't unnecessarily specify the objects that you don't care about, but specify the objects that you are looking for. Okay, so once you specify, so it keeps track of it. And let's go and make some changes. For example, let's say here I'm in the field, then I'm making the changes to a name field. When you update the name, it actually goes and updates the contacts, okay, particular field. Okay, let's say it's communication inc. Let's go and save it. Okay, so now if you go to the records monitor, so you can see that, so it has updated account 1 changes, contact 1, and then contact updated. So different contacts. So basically it shows one record, one entry here per record that has been updated or created, and how many changes have happened since we enable tracking changes. So if you go and make further changes, for example, if you go the same thing and update to remove this ink, for example, okay, and go and make changes, so it should see another set of changes. So we updated contact and then we updated this one. So let's go and maybe make changes to this particular contact directly. So just to see that, how it works. Let's say first name is Sean. Okay, so let's put last name as Junior. If you go and make changes, if you go to the records monitor, so now you see that this contact 3 changes have been observed, whereas the account and the contact there are only 2 changes. To see the changes themselves, so you click on the entry, and then that entry will show the details here. So you can show the field name, the field type, and then the version that have happened. So this is version 1, so that's the first change that is observed, and then this is the version 2 that has happened. Okay, you can select only to hide non-changed fields. In that case, it will show only the changes that have happened and hides the other fields, similar to how it works on a single record tracking. Similarly, it shows the same changes for contact, and then here, this contact, we see that it has 3 changes, whereas this contact had 2 changes. Okay. So this is the records monitor feature. Okay. So and here you can see that it is spinning. It means it's monitoring for changes. You can pause it so it doesn't look for changes during that particular time. So let's say now if I go and make changes to this particular account right now, if I put ink back and save it, it's not gonna observe that particular change because it's not monitoring. Now if I go and enable the monitoring, so it's just gonna keep looking for new changes that have happened after that particular fact. You can also change how often we look for a change. I think that by default it is it's like a 2 seconds, but you can change whatever the interval that you're looking for. Okay, so that makes sense to you. You can export all of this information. For example, you can right click and say export all of these as CSV, Excel, and all that. And similarly, you can export changes from here as well. You can export like this, or you can also copy all the records as CSV. So you can see how it is exported. You can just say view CSV keyboard. So this is how it exports. Okay, so we have some search here. You can search for particular records. You can also search here for particular fields. And then of course you can make use of the standard data grid filtering, grouping, what have you, to synthesize the information that you're looking for. You can close the record details. Okay, so the records are not deleted, but if you go and click one more time, then that will be brought back up. Okay, so it will show that. You can also clear the changes. So once you clear them, so that it will remove the rows, and then that it is like if you want to reset the changes, you can clear them. Once it clears, now we're going to look for new changes that have happened. So if you go and make the change here and then save it, you should see the new change that's coming up. Okay, and then contact. Okay. Yeah, this is about records monitor feature in Brobench. So this has helped us quite a few times while troubleshooting production issues, or if you want to understand while developing, what are the changes this particular process is making. So in this case, you can go specify list of objects that you are interested in, and it actually keeps track of what changes that have happened. Thank you.